Greetings, hello, welcome on in. Unoptimized Fool here from the office. Glad you could join in. Obviously, today we're going to talk about World of Warcraft. Now, again, we're going to dive a lot into the Midnight expansion, but what do we want to talk about now? Let's talk about all of the brand new dungeons coming inside of Midnight. Obviously, there's going to be some new ones, right, in the newer zones, but there's actually going to be some returning kind of points of interest that we've seen in even the Burning Crusade. So it'll definitely be fun to dive into. So let's get into it. Alrighty, guys, let's get right into it. So again, in the Midnight, there's going to be 8 new dungeons. Now, again, some of these are going to be kind of returning points of interest. Now, there's going to be 3 inside of Eversong Woods, which is technically called quel'thas at this point, because it's, again, combining Eversong Woods and as well as Ghostlands. So we have Windrunner Spire. Now, this is going to be a returning location. We saw that in the Ghostlands. Right now, obviously, it's going to have a big revamped model. It's going to be a lot larger, obviously. We'll also have Magister's Terrence, which again is a returning POI, and as well as Murder Row. Now you'll obviously recognize Murder Row being inside of Silvermoon itself. It's kind of like the red district of the city, more of like the bad boy town, right? So it will be interesting to dive through there. We also have 2 dungeons inside of zul'aman. Again, that's going to be that zone that's kind of extended off from the raid, right? We have the Den of Narak, and then we have the Mayasara Caverns. And we'll talk about the descriptions here a little bit later. Then we also have one inside of the Hollandar location, which again is going to be the location of the kind of the roots of the world, right? The world trees. It's going to be called Blinding Veil. And then we have 2 inside the Void Storm, which is kind of like this, almost like, I guess it looks like a plant. Think of a Koresh, right? We have Void Scar Arena, which is actually a very unique dungeon that I'll talk about a little bit later. And then we have Nexus Point Zenith. So again, those are going to be 8 new dungeons. Again, I'm looking forward to them. So, but let's actually dive into kind of what we'll expect with Season 1, actually. All right, so here's a little bit of a tidbit of information for you guys. So all 8 of the new Midnight dungeons will be available in Mythic Zero at this, obviously at the start of the season, right? But when the first season of Midnight drops, 4 of them will be new, right? Like again, the 4 new dungeons, and then 4 of them will be returning. So not all of the dungeons featured in Midnight will be accessible in Season 1. Now, we do know that the arena inside of the Voidstorm is one of these mythic dungeons because they did mention that in one of the interviews. But other than that, we have no idea what the other 3 dungeons available at this point, as well as what the other 4 returning dungeons are. But I'm hoping to see an older one, right? Obviously, I don't think we're going to see a new mythic dungeon, right? Again, think of Legion or, going forward. So I don't think anything new on that. Obviously, I would love to see like older dungeons turn into a mythic dungeon, but who knows? I mean, Midnight has been full of surprises as up to this point. All right, guys. So again, I just want to give you a little bit of description for these dungeons. Again, I described them how they are, but I want to give you a description. So the Windrunner Spire is going to be described as discovered the buried history of the Windrunner sisters. Again, there's a developer did say that we are going to see the return of Sylvanas, so it makes sense that we're going to see Windrunner Spire. Also, do you guys know that the Void is kind of scared of death, and Sylvanas is kind of right now in the moss, so that's kind of making sense, unfortunately. Now we have Magister's Terrace, right? They talked about a desperate mission to unleash ancient magic against the Void. Again, obviously, there's a big dash on defeating the Void at this point. And then they talked about Murder Row, which is considered to be blood elves are smuggling fell relics and demons left over from TBC. Again, as you guys know, blood elves love their fell relics. Obviously now they're kind of free from that type of stuff, but obviously we're gonna have some bad boys trying to still access that stuff. And then we're going to go to Den of Narak, which is described as the Armani's bear. Loa challenges us to tests before he'll join us against the Void. Again, Loa is always giving out these challenges and tests, so it makes sense that this is also occurring. Then we have the Mayasara Caverns. They save the Witherbark, who have been abducted by the Bio Branch, which again, obviously they started regrowing the this isn't in that zone, but they started regrowing the dead scar, and some of the nature actually got out of control here. So, but obviously this is going to be inside of zul'aman, but again, still has to do with that nature thing. Blinding Veil is described as Dawnwell. Again, we don't know what the Dawnwell is. Is accelerating the unnatural growth of creatures and plants, stop them before they threaten Silvermoon. Again, they tried to regrow some stuff. It's obviously coming and making a lot more mess than they thought it was going to make. They have Void Scar Arena, which is going to be one of the Mythic Plus dungeons. Battle for the amusement of a powerful void entity who has gathered dangerous creatures from across the universe. And they also described it as having control over the waves, right? So it's like a wave-based arena, and you can actually control what you fight at what time. Obviously, the faster you go, the better the key, right? And then obviously, Nexus Point Zenith, fight through a Void Storm Fortress, tension between our allies escalate, which I'm not sure what that means. This is the beginning of the climax of the story. So it looks like that's going to be like the official final dungeon of the story. Alrighty, guys, that's going to be all the information I have. Now, to give my opinions on this, obviously, 8 new dungeons is usually the normal amount that we get, but it's also good. Obviously, we're getting one revamped zone, right? And one extended zone, but like we think of like quel'thas, you think of Eversong for Woods, as well as the Ghostlands and the Sea Windrunner Spire, Murder Row come back. This is locations that we know. Now, obviously, I love this type of stuff. Some people are like, oh, this is just used content, but they have to redesign the whole space. I mean, Windrunner Spire as well as Murder Row was never a dungeon before. There's a way you design like a point of interest and a dungeon. There's two different ways to do it. So there's still work that has to be done with this type of stuff. So it's not lazy. And I think this is also revital, kind of like reimagining the world. Obviously, things are healing. The Dead Scar is gone, right? But obviously, there's more problems that still exist. It's not like it's going to be all sunshine and rainbows there, right? So again, I love seeing this. Now, how do I feel about Sylvanas returning? I mean, we're going to talk about that in a future video, but I mean, again, it kind of makes sense she's coming back again. I think it was the writers who did her bad. Obviously, I think she's a pretty strong character, besides the points inside of Shadowlands, but that's beside the point. But yeah, guys, I mean, we have the new zones, we have the Mythic Plus, right? Obviously, we only know one Mythic Plus at this point. But the arena one that's confirmed to have like control over what you spawn in per like wave, like again, it's like an arena based thing, is pretty cool. It's definitely a new feature. Obviously, hopefully, I'm definitely seeing people pull too much than they should. But yeah, guys, I just wanted to get you the information about the dungeons. Again, all this midnight stuff is going to be slowly released here on the channel. Again, this is definitely news that you probably heard before, but hopefully I did a little bit of a deeper dive. If you guys want to know about any other thing about midnight, I'm definitely putting out some more videos. But if you want to know anything faster, definitely let me know in the comments down below, and I can expedite that video for you guys. Again, thank you guys for watching. I am Unoptimized Fool. I'll see you guys in the next one.